Thank you. Pleasure to be here today, and thanks for inviting me to speak. My name is Claus Skaaning. I'm the CEO of Digishares. I'm going to speak about tokenization. Tokenization is, of course, a use case of blockchain. It's also a use case that can actually be used and give value outside the blockchain, outside crypto. And it's a use case that has been hyped a lot over the last few months, I would say. Predicted a great future by State Street, Bain, Citibank, JP Morgan, BlackRock, and so on. So all the big financial firms are looking at a lot of tokenization to see how they can get value from it. Citibank has projected that tokenization itself as a market will grow with a factor 80 over the next 7 years to be 4 trillion in size in 2030. So tokenization itself could actually grow to become larger than the entire crypto market today, simply because we have huge assets, real estate that dwarfs the rest of the crypto ecosystem. So Digishares is a market-leading provider of solutions for tokenization. We provide a turnkey solution, a software solution, a white label solution that allows you to sort of customize it and use it for your own purposes, to tokenize your own assets for issuance, compliance, and trading. We have interfaces for investors and for issuers, and we support a lot of integrations with different parties to make an end-to-end solution. We also asset agnostic, we are protocol agnostic, we are chain agnostic. We support 7 or 8 chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Phantom, Polymesh, Stellar, Ravencoin. And we add another chain every month, I would say, due to customer demand. We have open interfaces, so it's possible to build more functionality on top of our backend, if desired. And then we are also very focused on compliance. Tokenization is still very much a legal and regulatory complicated concept. So we have legal partners, more than 50 legal partners around the world, supporting our clients to make sure they are compliant, and we also are compliant. And then we are also viewed as a crypto gateway by many of our clients. Our clients are typically real estate developers that are often not very crypto savvy. So we need to guide them in how to use wallets, how to use stable coins, and so on. And we also have to provide hybrid solutions so they can still accept fiat also as payment from their clients in combination with USDC or something like that, at least for the next couple of years, until the crypto adoption has been completed, I would say, or increased compared to now, and on-ramp have become much easier. Real estate is a massive asset class. It is 326.5 trillion in global value. So it's the largest asset class that exists, and it's ripe for disruption. It's almost totally illiquid. Only 1% of real estate is listed and tradable in the form of REITs on exchanges. And it's also almost entirely outside the reach of normal retail investors. It's almost always required to invest 100,000 euros if you want to participate in a real estate development project, putting it effectively out of reach for most retail investors. And that's a pity, because retail investors actually sit on around 40% of global wealth. So there's a lot of money that could flow into real estate if it was sufficiently fractionalized. It's also a pity that it's not liquid, because institutional investors sitting on about half the global wealth prefer to invest into liquid assets. They don't like real estate because it's so illiquid. So a lot of money is being kept outside real estate due to the illiquidity and the inaccessibility. So private markets, where real estate is the largest element, is plagued by slow, complex, manual, human-based, paper-based processes. It's not digitized, it's not automated to any degree. It's consisting of siloed shares in each development project that cannot sort of be used outside the project, only exist in an Excel sheet, cannot be traded, cannot easily sort of be used for other purposes. And almost always, due to the high complexity and the high administrative cost, only a few investors are invited to join the project, maybe 10, 15, 20 max. And again, since so few investors join, the ticket size will have to be large, at least 100,000 euros and upwards. And also due to the high administrative cost, investors are typically locked in for 7 to 10 years until the maturity of the project. If they want to exit beforehand, after 1 year or 2 years, it's again a manual process by the administrator of the project. They have to call around to the other shareholders or investors to find out if anyone wants to buy. And it's well documented in industry reports that there's a typical loss of 20 to 30% if you want to exit before time. Real estate, retail doesn't have access, as discussed before. Institutional investors are not interested due to the illiquidity. So trillions of euros or dollars are left outside real estate due to this fact. Tokenization, of course, is a solution. I think a lot of people here will agree. Tokenization is a concept of representing ownership rights in real estate or any other type of asset with tokens on the blockchain. Typically, I would say 99% of the projects that we are working on, we tokenize the shares in a legal entity that owns the underlying property or development project. So we get tokenized shares, or tokenized securities, or security tokens. The tokens that we work with are always securities. Gives us a big advantage when we work in the US because the SEC actually really likes securities. They want everything to be securities. So we already fully comply with US regulation and actually regulation in most countries. But it gives challenges, of course, to the tokens themselves. They cannot be freely traded. Your wallet must be whitelisted in order to keep the token in it. You cannot transfer it just to any other wallet. You can only transfer it to other whitelisted wallets. So we use special protocols, security token protocols, to enforce compliance and sort of investor security, I would say, for the tokens. So there's smart contracts or protocols called ERC 1400, ERC 1404, and so forth that enforce this compliance and make sure that wallets are whitelisted. Tokens sort of enforce this compliance in an automated way. So these protocols, of course, support minting tokens, purchasing tokens, paying out distributions and dividends, and of course, trading itself is also possible with security tokens. We can do an atomic swap with peer-to-peer settlement without counterparty risk between two wallets that are whitelisted. So we can do the same as they can do in Uniswap, but it just has to be within sort of a semi-permissioned regulated environment. But I would say still, it sounds like a simple thing for a crypto environment, but for a real estate developer that is used to a manual process for this, it's a huge innovation to be able to automate trading on their own homepage between their investors. Fully automated, fully digitized with no administrative cost. So tokenization creates borderless shares in the form of tokens that can be kept in wallets and that are interoperable with different systems and platforms on the chain, as long as everyone is whitelisted. They can be listed on specialized security token exchanges that, of course, need to be regulated and licensed similar to a normal stock exchange. And due to the high degree of automation, digitization, the ticket size can be reduced, so retail investors can participate. And also the liquidity makes it into a much more attractive asset class for institutional investors. So we can actually create trillions in new value by opening up using tokenization. And in fact, we are removing something called the illiquidity premium, which is typically 20 to 30%. So if you have two assets that you can invest into, one that are absolutely identical, one is liquid, the other one is totally illiquid, everyone will prefer to invest into the one that is liquid. And that means the liquid asset will have a higher value than the other one. And that extra value is typically 20 to 30%, which is also well documented in industry reports. So we can actually create a lot of value. We can reduce cost. We can, of course, facilitate cross-border payments with stablecoins at a low reduced fee and higher efficiency. We can create liquidity. We can also democratize, which is actually a motivating value for many actors in the ecosystem. We can allow real estate or retail investors to get access to an asset class that high net worth individuals have used for many years to sort of grow their wealth. Now retail can do the same. So possibly we can help a little bit with reducing poverty globally and helping to close the global wealth gap. We can also help the situation where a young person in many countries find it hard to buy their first home. So now if they can buy fractional real estate at an early stage, they can get onto the property ladder much earlier and then hopefully get access, get ability to buy their first home earlier than before. Of course, it's on the chain, right? So it's much more transparent than today. So we can reduce fraud and corruption Compliance and governance, as discussed before, is completely enforced by the system, so we get less human errors, more compliant systems. So all of this results in competitive edge for the real estate developer. They can reduce cost, they can increase efficiency, increase liquidity, remove the illiquidity premium, make their assets worth more. So possibly increase profitability and growth of the real estate companies that choose tokenization. DeFi lending is the last point here, so this is really the holy grail of tokenization. At some point, when we have made real estate into a liquid asset class, it becomes possible to also use your real estate-backed tokens as collateral for DeFi lending contracts. This will increase capital efficiency to a great degree and allow real estate developers, instead of going to the bank and waiting for weeks to get a loan at a high interest rate maybe, instead they will go to the DeFi ecosystem and within a few minutes they will get access to a loan with hopefully a highly competitive rate. So that's a really significant innovation that will happen in the next year or two. So Digishares is a provider in the space. We provide a white label platform that can be used to tokenize, and then we are also working on an exchange, realestate.exchange. We will launch an order book first, within a couple of months actually, licensed both in Europe and in the US. And then we are launching an AMM as the next step, automated market maker, as mentioned earlier here today, with liquidity pools to maximize liquidity and with the ability to reward anyone and the asset owner on their own actually also by providing liquidity. Last slide from me, so a few customer cases. The first one is an interesting case. It's a client called Market Space Capital in the US that tokenized one asset, not to fundraise, but actually to make the asset liquid for their existing investors. They tokenized it on our platform, listed it on an exchange called T0 in the US. And it was done about a year ago. They listed, the market cap at the time was 6.5 million. Now it's 8 million. So it actually documents an increased value in 23% in just 1 year by making it liquid. There are 3 other examples here: Australia, Spain, Denmark. Different companies tokenizing real estate, high quality real estate properties, paying out distributions in stable coins on a monthly basis, and reducing the ticket size so retail can participate. I will end here. Thank you very much, and great pleasure.
Thank you, Claus. I think